Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to the Wednesday night team call. We're happy to have you all. I wanted to go over some housekeeping things. Actually, you know what? First, let me introduce myself. Integrated Regional Director Matt Gonzalez. I'm going to be one of your co-hosts tonight, and I just want to welcome you all to the call. I want to go over some really quick housekeeping tips. If you're in a noisy environment, please mute yourself, but we really encourage interaction in this call. So if you have comments, questions, please just chime in at any time you feel that necessary. If you're on screen, you can raise your hand if you like. If you're over the phone, like I said, please just chime in, ask your questions. We really like having the interactivity on this call. Let's see here. Next, I wanted to say this is our Global Director, Judy, and she's got some events coming up that she'd like to tell you about, and we have a really exciting call for you today. It's all about getting back to the basics.
All right. Well, thank you, Matt, and welcome everybody to the call. Welcome people who are listening to this recording, and welcome first-time listeners, because I know we've got some new coaches. So I do want to start with the events that we do have coming up. We have we've had the four. I've had 4 healthy happy hours so far this month, and we have our last one coming up next Tuesday on the 30th. So all 4 of them have been very successful. A lot of things have been learned. A lot of people have gotten some really good information, and we've had people moving forward. So it's really exciting. We've had great turnouts, and I think the first one even the first one we had quite a few people. So it's been good and it's been exciting, and I think the coaches are learning a lot from just moving into action. No matter if you have 1 person or 15 people, moving into action and really going through the steps of, when you're coaching someone else or you're presenting someone else, you're also presenting to yourself, and it gets you fired up. And so I've been having a good time with it. We got another one next Tuesday, and that one will be in Bellingham at 6 p.m. And that is posted on the team page, and there is also an event. So it's at 6 p.m. in Bellingham at the Hagen's house. They're gracious to host. And I want to thank everybody that's been hosting these happy hours this month, including Lynn Weiss, Susan K. Sweetie, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Angela Stellato, and of course myself, I had one. So moving forward, we're going to also be having our next local training on October 18th. It's going to be the 3rd Saturday instead of the 2nd one, because a lot of your leaders are going to be in Sundance at our leadership retreat that we've all worked really hard to earn. And this next training is going to be really cool, because we're going to get back from spending some really intimate time with Dr. Anderson. There's only a limited amount of people that get to go, and we're going to be able to get some really high advanced leadership training and become better health coaches and better leaders. So the next training is going to be key, because we're going to just be practically just speaking through Dr. Anderson. So super excited about that. So don't miss it. October 18th, 10 a.m. Everett Community College, and all of your leaders will be there, and we'll have a really great time. So with that, tonight we're going to talk about a few things that as we get seasoned in our Take Shape for Life business as health coaches, as business coaches, and as business leaders, sometimes we forget what are the things that we did in the past, in the very beginning. What tools did we use to get where we are? And even starting a new coach, helping them to go back and use these tools and start them correctly. And, there's a lot of coaches right now with the new tools and everything that's going on that makes it so simple to be Take Shape for Life health coach. They're going, hey, I think I'd like to ramp up my business. I haven't really done much with it. There's a lot of us that started out in the beginning and maybe went a year or 2 before we actually even decided to do more than poke a stick at it. So if you're one of those coaches that's kind of going, this is kind of getting exciting. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and I'd like to really utilize what we've got. This call is for you. If you are a seasoned health coach and you're just going, there's all this stuff, I need to scale it down, this call is for you. And if you are someone that is stepping into a leadership role and want to know how to teach this call is for you. So it's for anyone, it's for everyone. So I'm starting with back to the basics of how are you following up? Are you using your pre-client folder? Are you utilizing where to find people and talk to them and be in dialogue? And how are you organizing your leads and your contacts and the people you know and your share list? So, Matt and Chelsea and I talked to some coaches about this last night, and I think it really has an impact on how smart we are working rather than how hard we are working. And if you leave all this stuff to be remembered in your head, it's going to feel really confusing and overwhelming because you're counting on your memory. And I don't know about you, but I only got so much space up there. And if I fill it up with a bunch of stuff I'm trying to remember, then I tend to get myself feeling overwhelmed. And let's talk about wellness. Stress is not part of wellness, and we're all trying to move down that healthy path on a daily basis. So it's really important that you help yourself to be the one that is downloading your brain so that you can be relaxed and have fun with this. And for me, that starts with a today list. Every morning I start with a today list. And sometimes some of the things from yesterday that weren't super, super pressing get moved to today again. And it's just a reminder of the things that I want to get done, the people I want to call, those kind of things. So that really helps me. And then also utilizing my pre-client folder in regards to not only my share list, but all the people I'm in contact with on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So that at any one time, you should have enough people that you can sit down with your pre-client folder and call 5 people in a day. And you can flip through it, and depending on your relationship or last time you talked to them, or, you're going to feel a certain warmth when you hold their paper, when you're turning to their paper and go, I just talked to them, or whatever the notes you had on there. So let's start with, where do we find people? So, there's your phone contacts, there's Facebook, there's social media, the other things. There's your actual share list that you've sat down and wrote. And Matt, if you want to go ahead and chime in regards to actually what that looks like when you're implementing the people that you know in your life, the people you're meeting, the people that you're contacting on maybe instant message for Facebook, and the dialogue that happens, that they get to move from just being somebody you want to contact to somebody that now is in your pre-client folder, and what that looks like. So you want to touch on that, Matt?
Sure, yeah, I'd love to. Guys, I guess the biggest thing here, realizing, is utilizing the tools you have at hand. I want to start with really the understanding that if you're at any point in this process that Julie already previously mentioned, whether you're seasoned, you're just starting out, and you've been a health coach for 6 months, it doesn't matter. I guess the first part, the most important thing I'm trying to tell you is plug in with your mentor. That is your strongest tool, because they're going to guide you to what you're going to need to use right now, wherever you're at. So that's the number one thing. But when it comes back to using your systems, make sure you're actually using the systems we have in place, because that's how we're keeping it duplicable and how we're keeping it simple for ourselves. Just like Julie mentioned, this is about not only creating our life and health, but decreasing that stress that we have. Some of us have full-time jobs on top of Take Shape for Life. Some of us have been able to leave our full-time jobs and just do Take Shape for Life, because it's that process of making simplification and using the systems we have. We wouldn't be where we were at if we created everything on our own. So, really understand that you're not alone in that. And coming back to the share list, realize everybody you know goes on that share list, whether you went to school with them or you currently work with them or you previously worked with them, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends. That is what creates your share list. And just like Julie said, we have so many people in our cell phones that we can reach out to and really share what you're excited about. Right now, a lot of people are excited about the challenge, but say you've lost 10 pounds or you're getting back into it or you learned something new. Share what you're excited about. And this is, let me tell you, this is when I make a pre-client sheet for somebody, when we start a dialogue. So understand that you have your share list, and that's the people that you're going to be reaching out to. Because if you don't have a share list, if you don't know who you're reaching out to, you're probably not going to reach out to anybody, because we're like, oh, well, when we all try to keep it up in our mind, we can't remember all of that. There's too many people out there that we're trying to help to keep that all up in our brain. And, you know, really once we get that on paper, it really makes it easier to balance, because you can say, okay, sweet, I've got some free time today. I'm going to do 5 calls. And then if I have some extra time, I'll do 5 more. And then tomorrow I can do 5. So it really makes it manageable long term. So you're not putting in, you know, an 8-hour day on top of an 8-hour day. You know what I mean?
So let me stop you right there, because I know you're going to go into kind of morphing into more detail here. Getting back to where do I start my share list? Would you go ahead and hold up that 30 minutes or 30 contacts in 30 minutes sheet? Hold it a little closer to the screen.
Won't be able to read much of it.
There you go. 30. Okay. So basically, it's a tool that we use just to get people to jog their memory. And I want you to come out of this call tonight with exactly some couple steps of what to do next to create a bigger sphere of influence and get that pre-client folder thicker and thicker. Mm-hmm. And that sheet has different sections. It'll say, name 3 people you went to school with, name 3 people you are in clubs with, 3 people at church, or 3 people, you know, or whatever. And it's going to help you with that. I'm going to post that on the Facebook page this evening so that you can all pull that up and use that as a starting block. And so that can be, okay, here's one step. The second place where you can find that kind of activity is in the Senior Coach Guide. Yeah. And that has a whole section where you can kind of jog your memory of people that you know. And whether or not you know how to contact them, you can always research online of how to get a hold of them. And I've found a lot of them on Facebook. I've found a lot of them just by Googling them. And you can get their phone number really easy. And just saying, hey, I haven't talked to you in 10 years. I can't, you know, your name came to mind. So, anyway, there's the warm and the cooler ones that you save the day that you're feeling bulletproof for the harder ones. And when you're feeling, I know I should do 5, do some easy ones. Do 5 easy ones. So I just wanted to put that in there so that you can see where you can start with a tool. And those tools are the 30 and 30 minute or 30 and 3 minutes, and the tool in the Senior Coach Guide. And if you're not sure where that's at, you can pull that up in the Office in Motion library, and it's actually online. And you can just print just the pages that you want and use that as your tool to expand your share list. The other tools, like we said, are Facebook. You can take a sheet of paper and write down everyone that you feel like you want to reach out to. What I do is I sit down and see who's online. And then at any one time, you can go back in your messages and see everybody that you've talked to and what dialogue you've had. If you've had a back and forth dialogue with them at all, you can start a pre-client sheet for them. Matt, you know, I love the way that you and Chelsea are very organized in your contacts and your follow-ups, so that you actually have enough people to reach out to 5 a day and follow up 5 a day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Julie, for pointing that out. And, you know, one of the most important pieces of understanding, you know, even utilizing the 30 contacts in 3 minutes, realize that your contact list, your share list, this process is always very fluid. You always want to be adding names and people to those lists, because let's face it, we go out in the world, we meet people at the grocery store, we meet people pumping our gas, you know what I mean? So it's always a matter of, okay, this is somebody else that I've touched in my life. But just like Julie said, like we have a lot of friends on Facebook, whether those be old acquaintances, people from high school, whatever. Always want to make sure you're making those pre-client sheets for people you've had a dialogue with. So if you send out, let's say you send out 15 messages about, hey, you know, I have this great event on Saturday. If you'd like to come and check it out, I know you'd love it. The people that reach back and say, oh, you know, I can't make it today, you know, maybe next time. Those people are people you want to stay in contact with. If we don't take note of that and we just hope that we remember it from next time, you know, it may be 6 months or a year before you remember, or you go onto Facebook and say, oh, hey, I invited that person one time and they said, hey, I can't make it, but I'd love to. And I haven't been inviting them for the last 9 months. So, you know, really take that into account. And when you get a system down that works for you, it just comes into place of using it. And the systems that we have, whether it be, if you're good at Excel, use Excel. If you're good at with a notepad and paper, you can do that too. You don't have to have one or the other. So.
And can I just say real quick, that is fantastic that you brought that up, Matt, because, you know, once they reach back to you and say, I can't make it, but thanks for inviting me, that's a pre-client sheet. Mm-hmm. Because they actually reached back to you. And at that point, you can say, hey, you want to shoot me your phone number and I'll text you a reminder when the next one is. You know, texting is a great way. And some people aren't on Facebook a lot. Some people, you know, we tend to, those of us that use Facebook a lot, we tend to lean on that a lot. But if you're not a big Facebook person, don't all of a sudden think you have to do Facebook to expand your list. You're just going to do it in a different angle. Touching someone could be email, texting, LinkedIn, you know, sending up a flare, running into them, inviting them to an event. And so you have all different ways of sending them, putting them on your newsletter. All of those things are something that they're receiving something from you. And the second that they reach back to you, that is dialogue. Don't you agree?
Exactly. And, you know, once that conversation gets started, like I said, even if they can't make it, you want to make sure and put a sheet down because, see, here's the thing. If they're telling you that they can't make it, guys, that's interest. They're saying, wow, you know, they've probably been watching and you don't even know it. But they reached back. And just like Julie mentioned, and I think this is really important here because I'm one of those people. I'll go on Facebook, send out my messages, talk to the people that have messaged me, but then I get off of it. I'm not on it all day waiting for somebody to respond. So if you go and message somebody and you don't hear back from them for a while, not everybody spends all day on there. Some other people, you know, go out and do things or try and turn it off simply because it is such a distraction in some of our lives. So that's really important, you know, but take note of those responses. Make sure you write down that sheet, and that will get you in your process of making sure those people never fall through the cracks. We never want to leave people behind because this opportunity is the biggest opportunity out there, and we want to help everybody that we can.
Yeah, Matt, I love that you brought that up too, because I love what Chelsea mentioned, that she thinks of herself as a connector. And so, you know, really what we're doing is we're just out there making friends, reconnecting with people that we already know and say, hey, I just want to reconnect with you. What have you been up to? Here's what I've been up to. Oh, you're a plumber? Okay, let me make sure I know that, because if I know somebody that's needing a plumber, I'm going to connect you, and he's going to go, well, what do you do so that I can help you? And that's what I do a lot of times when I have appointments with people, is we're just connecting. And whether it's a fit for Take Shape for Life or not, I'm just making friends and reconnecting with people. If you come into that with that posture, you're not going to be going, oh my God. And then you can be saying, hey, is it okay if I put you on my newsletter so you can keep track of how I'm doing in case you know anybody? It's not about them. It's about who they know. Every single one of us knows 200 people that you don't know. So when I'm connecting with someone, it's not really about them. I want to get into their world because I don't know their world. And someone in their world needs me. And I'm not going to count on that one person. So if I ask them permission to keep connecting with them, to get into their world in case they know someone, then the next time their aunt or their sister says, you know, geez, I've been struggling with this 40 pounds, they're going to say, you know, I got this friend that's, you know, a health coach or whatever. So, some people are struggling with how to expand their contact list. And that is a huge, huge tool that we have that's a natural, just making friends thing. Listen, if I know what you do, I can help you out. If you know what I do, you can help me out. And people want to help us out. People want to reciprocate and give you leads so that they can have leads too. I mean, it's human nature. So if you go into it with just making friends, and trust me, 5 to 12 touches is what it takes to get someone to really be, thinking about you as a health coach. They know you from where they know you. They know you from the gym. They know you from church. They know you. That's how they think of you. They don't think of you as a health coach. So the 5 to 12 touches is just reminding them, hey, if you know anybody, I can help them. And that is such an easy breezy, honest, sincere way to have fun, so that you're not putting pressure on yourself, on them. You're not putting out that energy that we all don't want to. And also your terminology, how you're talking about this program is really key. And Matt and I were kind of visiting a little bit about words not to say. I know that there's a document that we have from back in the day that I'm going to also post on our Facebook page that just simply is a document that said words not to say, like the word diet, calling it the MetaFast program, things like that. And there's reasons behind that. And the reason is we're a habits of health, behavioral orientation, lifestyle changing, preventative medicine, optimal health company. Wow, say that 5 times fast. But we're not MetaFast. We use that tool just like we use the habits of health tool. And, and also getting back into the idea of creating health rather than dieting. We literally are, we're training people how to think by the power of our words. So if we're talking about, let's get you on program, let's talk about the food, let's talk about the price, let's talk about those kind of things, they're going to be programming their mind into thinking, oh, it's another one of those, another diet, another something I got to do. And instead of going, let's talk about some non-scale victories. Let's talk about the life you're going to create and the habits of health that are going to be such subtle changes. It's going to be long-term. And guess what? We're never going to be perfect. It's a journey. And I'm still on my journey. And I'm learning to, every single time I talk to someone, tell them I'm still on my journey. Whether I'm in maintenance or I'm on a blitz to lose 5 pounds, or I'm like, a lot of my health coaches really are still on their journey. And so a lot of my clients have been on and off their journey. I am literally 100% of the time when I'm talking to someone initially or every time, I'm reminding them, hey, I'm still on my journey. So if you put that out there, it kind of gives that relief of, okay, I get it. This is a long-term thing. I'm interested in long-term health. I'm not just interested in fitting in a certain size pants or a number on a scale or the food. And so that's something that we really, I think we've skipped over a little bit in training that I really think that needs addressing. And so I am going to post that up there, and we'll probably train a little bit on it as we go through these next few weeks, because it's going to be something that's key in how you speak to people and what the energy that you're putting out there. Because I think a little bit, sometimes we get too wrapped up in the weight loss part of this. And that's not the whole thing. If it was just a weight loss thing, we'd be just like everyone else. And, those of us that have been able to change our lives and keep our weight off, it's not about the weight. It's about the mind changing. Matt and Chelsea, you want to add to anything before we take some questions?
Well, since I just walked in, I was just on the phone with a MetaFast lead, and we've been on the phone twice this week, of course, to set up her order, and then just now she got her box. And what I've found with our clients is, like you said, really focusing on, okay, so the weight loss is this short little period of time for most people, unless they have a lot of weight to lose. But that period of time is just this tiny piece out of your life. That's it. So what's going to happen beyond? What are your goals beyond that? And I love finding out about, I love meeting people, let alone if it's on the phone, and finding out about their real reasons. And so we talk about aim to stay at trainings and things, and it's so, so, so important because it shows them, especially MetaFast leads, that we are different. You know, we're not just here for your weight loss and then we disappear. We're your health coach for life, and your goals will evolve and change. And as long as you keep aware of that, you can continue to evolve and change and move forward versus doing the rocking chair thing that we talk about. So I've experienced that. And I tell people I've experienced that, and that's okay. Everybody's journey is their own journey, and they go through it as they go through it. And I've also learned to work with people where they're at. If they're stuck on a concept, like they'll say, I'm off plan or I'm on plan. I say, well, what does that really mean? What is off plan? Are you done with your journey? Like, to me, there is no off plan. You're always on your journey. So I've had to wrap my head around that, and I've had to teach a couple people that concept so they stop the rocking chair madness that happens.
You know, it's something I wanted to really kind of hone in on that you mentioned there, Julie. You know, our words are powerful, and more often than not, our words will give away our true feelings or our true intentions. When we really walk into a situation and we think negatively either of ourselves or of some portion of what we're participating in or taking part in, that really shows through in the words we choose to use. We have had trainings in the past about power words, and I don't really want to go too much into that, but realizing when you are sharing with your clients or sharing with your pre-clients and the same thing keeps coming up, it's almost like concepts. Your clients will do what you do. And if we really posture ourselves as the amazing opportunity and program that we offer people, instead of just helping people lose weight, there is really a huge shift there with people realizing all that we have to offer, instead of just saying, okay, well, yeah. And you may find people that just start this just to lose 10 or 20 pounds. But it has always amazed me seeing that shift in people when we're checking in with them, and when they finally see the big picture of what it is we're helping them do, create that long-term health, create that life and that vision that they have given up on. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of people have just said, okay, well, this is my life. I'm going to be doing this until I die. And I'm going to look this way, or I'm going to feel this way until I die. It becomes norm, and it doesn't have to be. So we really can help people move past that. And the words we choose to use are so very important with even our mindset. I mean, that you want to talk about optimal health. If we're even, say you're at your healthy weight and you constantly use the word, well, I'm going to be doing a diet next week. You're looking at it in a negative sense, because in our society, that word has a negative connotation. So what is it you're actually feeling about what you're doing? It's really important to think about that and to be mindful, not just of what we're eating, but of how we're perceiving our actions and the words we choose.
Exactly. Excellent. Excellent. Fantastic. So with that, we're running a couple minutes over, but I really would love to hear from you guys on the line here. Any thoughts, comments, questions of what we just talked about? Because we just scratched the surface of just getting ourselves back to just easy stuff. Just easy stuff. And Alan, I know hi Alan, I know you're on the line here, and you're pretty much an expert in the power of words. And I know that you probably have been relating to a lot of what we've just said.
Well, that's true. I've been MIA because I'm working about 10 hours a day with my therapy clients. It just got incredibly busy. I have new people starting on program. My team is exploding underneath me, which is a kind of an amazing thing. I try to walk away. I try to pretend that it isn't there, and then boom, there's a big pile of money in my account, and I have to go, whoa! So, yeah, the words that we use are important. Knowing that you have a positive outcome in mind for a person drives the language. Keeping that positive outcome in mind is in what we call in NLP your source. If you have that positive outcome, your language will fall in line for that person. And so that's really the point, I guess, with language.
I love that. I love that. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we wrap up the call tonight? Okay. All right. Well, we are at the end of our time here, but I do want to encourage anyone that's either listening live or listening to the recording. I know people are busy on Wednesday nights and that kind of thing. And I know for me, I like to make a lot of phone calls on Wednesday nights because I can usually catch some people. And but I challenge each and every one of you to reach out to your mentor tomorrow and find out how you can get back to the basics of really touching 5 people a day, expanding on your pre-client list, and having a follow-up system in place so that you're downloading your brain, you're not remembering who you talked to because you wrote it all down, and so you have free space in there for revolving your life around what matters most and making this business as fun as it can be, because it is really fun. So with that, let's go get America healthy. Good night, everyone.